number 4, coming to you from a new MacBook Air with an M2 chip, fancy camera. We'll see, maybe it looks the same too. So, week 4 is pretty straightforward. We're digging into pedagogy, looking at curiosity. Also going to dive into a couple Google tools, Google Slides, and something you probably have heard about, YouTube, or as my kids call them, which drives me bonkers, YubTub. I don't like, there are no words. So, looking at curiosity, this is going to jump into your assignment number 4, Curiosity Spark. Since you're listening to me on the week 4 page, if you're on an Apple, you can command click, and also right click, open in a new tab if you want to look at this while I walk you through it. Similar to your other assignments, you are not going to have a whole bunch of stuff in Blackboard, but you are going to have several steps in the Google Doc that is the assignment description and directions. The most important thing is that when you submit, please submit a PDF and submit a blog post link. In your assignments in week 3, a lot of stuff was only a link, and that's not okay. So please make sure it is a PDF and it is a link, and not just the root link like billselleck.blogspot.com, but billselleck.blogspot.com / however you decided those permalinks, 2022 / Curiosity Spark. I would also encourage you in those URLs to not have it be the first sentence, so that your blog post link, the URL is not billselleck.blogspot.com / the thing I chose for this week's assignment / it's not a great URL. Not the end of the world, but it's a small thing that is simple to make like more relevant, I think is the best way to describe that. So you're going to click on a video about sparking curiosity in the classroom. That's Ramsey Musalam, one of our CUI instructors, amazing human. On that video, by the way, there is a great comment section. Somebody, I couldn't tell like how authentic it was or how kind of spammy it was. They're like, "What are you supposed to do with this?" And Ramsey actually replied and gave like 300-word response and was like, "Here's what it means." That response is actually one of the best examples of why you need inquiry before direct instruction. So the video is great, but that comment is where it's at. There's a Sparking Curiosity Toolkit. That's a one-pager, tells you the what, why, when, and how of sparking curiosity, and also gives you some examples, which is fantastic. And then actually digging into the Google tool specifically, looking at grabbing videos from YouTube. I'm not going to say YubTub, even though I just technically did. You're going to grab them from YouTube, throw them into Google Slides. It's great for a number of reasons. Not having to go to YouTube as a teacher helps keep your lesson tighter. You can crop both the physical size of your video, which, okay, but more importantly, you can crop the timing. You can basically edit it, the start and the end time. So that video walks you through how to do some quick formatting and kind of cropping of the heads and tails of a YouTube video. Super, super powerful stuff. It's one of those where I think once you start doing it, like it's hard to go back to just going to youtube.com and typing. The other great thing I like about it is that the idea is that ads aren't going to play full screen if it's embedded in Google Slides, which is another fantastic thing. If you're trying to avoid ads, you're either getting some workaround to download it, which is against the terms of service, or you're paying for like YouTube, what are they calling it now? Premium, $10 a month to get rid of ads on YouTube. Like not a great use of money unless you're listening to YouTube music a lot, in which case it's great. As always, please take a look at the rubric. You have 10 points for your Curiosity Spark for the YouTube video embedded in slides, 2 different forms of editing. And editing within Google Slides is going to be trimming the heads and the tails right at the beginning and the end, muting, covering stuff up with an object, cropping like the actual physical size of it so it's smaller and there's directions so it's bigger and you don't see all of it, and then an explanation slide, and then a blog post with at least one paragraph, and you're going to connect it with your TPAC content area. So that is the assignment. Your week 4 discussion board, you are jumping in to Ramsey's TED Talk, to Dan Meyer's TED Talk, and then J.J. Abrams, his TED Talk. 3 really, really good ones. Ramsey's going to talk about sparking creativity. Dan Meyer, obviously, if you know him, he's going to be talking about math, and really about curiosity more than worksheets. And then J.J. Abrams is, my goodness, this is a great TED Talk. You might know him as the initial creator of Lost. Not the showrunner, but the creator of Lost. A whole bunch of other stuff at Alias. Didn't he also do, was it The Force Awakens? I think he did Star Wars Episode 7. Anyway, in this video, talks about the power of mystery and the power of our imaginations, and how knowing a thing is often less everything, like less impactful than not knowing it. When it comes to exciting things, when it comes to bad news or unknown news, knowing, people would rather actually know bad news than not know good news typically. But mystery, there's something magical about that for teachers in particular. So that's what, you have 3 videos to watch, so be sure and set aside some time in your discussion board, and you're gonna talk about it. It's good stuff. So follow along with that prompt. At the end of our week 4 page, you're gonna look ahead to screencasts, formative assessment, but for now, just take a look at those things with Curiosity, Google Slides, and YouTube. One other thing I'm going to add at the end of this is that Google Slides is incredibly powerful. If you've not really dug into it in a while, I would encourage you to think about it not as slide software, but as web pages. Okay? Take a moment, kind of like, does that make sense? So if you have 3 slides, every time you click on a slide, the URL changes. So it's really technically a web page creator. And the thing web pages do better than anything is link to other web pages. And so the ability for one thing in a slide, or for one entire slide, to link to another slide, to link to a document, to link to a video, to embed a video, to not really embed a photo, but add a photo, to make them collaborative, interactive. There's so much you can do with Google Slides when you make that kind of head shift away from it just being like, oh, it's like PowerPoint, but Google's version. No. It's like web design, but through the interface of slides. It can also be, and I've used this for, what are they called? It's been a long week. It's been a long year, hasn't it? Brochures is the word I was looking for. Like a trifold, because you can customize the page layout. So it's actually, your slides can be 8.5 by 11. And you can make them like the size of your phone's lock screen. Put like a student schedule on it, iPad lock screen for your students, resize that in the page layout, and make it the exact size of that for schedules. But where I was going with this one is that when you link one thing to another, just like limitless with what really your potential is. And I think the real magic that we don't touch too much on with week 4, which is why I'm throwing it in here for you, is the ability to collaborate. Anyone with a link can edit. Different groups are able to edit with each other. It's really good stuff. It's also a great time to give a quick shout out to Edu Protocols. Good friend John Corpo started that, and thin slides, like skinny, thin slides are a great way to get into some Edu Protocols where you're using, just like it says, more of a protocol. So it's often mis-shared as like a digital worksheet. It's really not that. It's this protocol, it's this kind of template that you can throw into almost any lesson. So check that out, Thin Slides. Books are great. There's lots of blog posts about it. There's a website that'll walk you through thin slides. Iron Chef is another great protocol around the idea that Iron Chef is a secret ingredient, and so like everyone needs to have like a primary source. And so as you're going through an example of something, everyone's working on their own thing, but they need to add like one primary source or like an image that's a primary source if you want to be even more specific. So lots of different ways you can dive down the Edu protocols rabbit hole, and it's good stuff. So as always, if you have questions, please reach out. Happy week 4, and look forward to seeing what you're going to do in Google Slides this coming week.